What's good, Green Screen Entertainment fans? Your boy Jay Green is back, and this weekend I'm bringing you my review for Insidious: The Last Key. Now, this movie marks the fourth installment to the Insidious franchise. It stars Lin Shaye, Lee Whannell, and Angus Sampson. Now, I'm gonna tell you like this: if I could keep it real, I did really enjoy the first two Insidious films. The third one I thought was okay when I first watched it in the theater. It did have some fun jump scares. The story was whatever, but it definitely wasn't holding anything next to the first two. This movie right here, in comparison to all of those and as a standalone film and for what it was trying to do, I feel like it was trash. Now, I'm not going to front. I'm probably going to break down some spoilers just because I'm really trying to give y'all a thorough rundown as to why I feel like this movie was garbage as a standalone and as a fourth installment to the other Insidious films. Alright, y'all, now before I break y'all off with some heavy spoilers, I'm just going to break this movie down in general. So one of the major reasons I had a problem with this film was because of the pacing. I felt like the pacing was all off. The movie starts out like your normal horror movie. It's going to show you a little something, something. But then it slows down quite a bit through a big portion of the beginning of the film. It does tease you a little bit with some tension that's building throughout the scenes, but then it just jerks you off with a stupid ass jump scare that has no real threat behind it. I can't stand that. So basically, I'm not afraid of anything in this movie because the jump scares that are coming have no weight behind them, so that made it feel like the movie drug on like crazy. Also, the acting was mediocre at best. Now, I've seen great performances from these main characters in the other films or other films that they've been in. In this particular film, it just seemed like they were kind of mailing in their lines. None of the jokes hit, and they did try to throw in some jokes. There's a random love situation or relationship that they're trying to build out of these two characters that definitely don't seem like they should be together, nor do they have any actual time to develop a relationship. That seems forced for some random reason I couldn't even tell you. Alright, y'all, now that's as far as I can go when it comes to the general breakdown of this film. Anything else I say from here is probably going to be heavy in the spoiler territory because I really got to lay it out for y'all to understand why this movie pissed me the fuck off. So, here's the deal. Like I said, I enjoyed the first two Insidious films. I even enjoyed the third one. I thought it was okay. But what I really enjoyed was the idea of the Further, this place that she can go into and help people out or deal with these spirits or demons that are kind of caught in purgatory or limbo, if you will. That was a really cool concept, and I enjoyed kind of traveling around with her, or at least following her after the Lambert family, which was the first family that she helped out in the first two movies, and see her kind of solve these little sinister mysteries, if you will, with these demons and whatnot. I thought that was a kind of a cool concept. Now, the third movie was a prequel to the Lambert family where she was like, I'm not trying to use my gifts anymore, fuck that shit. But then she ends up changing her mind and she's going to help out this girl. It was alright. But it also showed in the end of that movie how she teamed up with her two helpers. I thought that was cool. Maybe they could have done a little bit more with it, but whatever. Now, in this film, this is a prequel to that prequel, basically showing Elise as a child when she developed her gifts. However, and this is where I'm about to blow the entire plot of the movie and the entire spoiler situation. However, if she's talking to spirits, right, and she's able to see the demons and all that type of stuff and go into the Further, that's her gift that she supposedly developed as a child. The actual plot of the movie is that when she's a child, she has these gifts. She's seeing ghosts in the house. She basically lives down the way from prison, and her father works at the prison, and they be executing people at the prison, so maybe the spirits are coming over to the house. That's what we're led to believe in the beginning of the film. But then, towards the end of the film, we find out that the ghosts that she thought she was seeing in the house were actually kidnapped women, chained up like in the basement, or they got free and they're wandering through the house from time to time or whatever like this, and she's the only one that sees them. Her brother don't see him, her mom don't see him. So whenever she's bringing it up, her dad gets mad and beats the shit out of her. Now, here's the problem that I have with that. While that concept kind of sounds interesting as a mystery type movie, that's not what Insidious is. No Insidious film has been a mystery type movie in that regard. It's all about we're going into this different dimension, if you will, this purgatory, this limbo with these demons that want to break free of this purgatory and be with the living. That's what the movie's about. That's where it's scary, where you're like, damn, if I believe in that type of stuff, these motherfuckers might come out through me and they can live, but then I'm gonna be stuck in the Further. That's what is cool about the whole concept. This movie kind of breaks that mold and tries to go into a mystery type situation. Hey, you know what? It worked for Fast and Furious. Started out as a movie where they're driving cars all around, all crazy around the town. Next thing you know, it's a heist film. Next thing you know, they're friggin' secret spies and all types of shit. That's fine. But this movie didn't earn that shit. And when I mean they didn't earn that shit, the problem that I had with her finding out in the end that her dad was doing this type of stuff is that they don't earn it and show any type of backstory. Why is he doing this stuff? He's got a good job. He lives right down the street from work. He can walk to work. Why is he kidnapping these girls in the house? And how are they getting out from being chained up in the basement to walking around the house and they don't ever open their mouth and say, hey, help. Or they don't ever run out the door. What's up with that? Look, I'm going to tell you like this. Maybe I didn't live back in the day. Elise is old. You know what I'm saying? She lived back in the day. All I know right now is I barely have time to check my emails, let alone kidnap someone, put them in the basement, and hide that shit from my family. I'm not buying that shit for a minute. The other thing that I had a problem with was this. If Elise has had these gifts as a child, to speak to spirits, to see the further, to encounter demons and all that type of stuff, she's got a real connection with the supernatural world, if you will. When did she actually develop these gifts? Because what the movie is trying to tell us is that as she was a young girl, as she was a little girl, she was seeing ghosts floating around the crib and all that, but it was actually these girls that were kidnapped in the house. Even if there is an actual demon in the house that is somehow possessing someone to kidnap these kids, which is what they try to tell you later on down the line, when did she actually develop those gifts? If this is going to be a prequel as to when she found the ability to do what she does, show us that prequel. Give us more backstory to why her dad is doing this. That probably would have been a more entertaining film because we would have got two things in one. One, her biggest case that she ever had to solve, which was finding out that her dad was a sick, twisted motherfucker. And two, learning her abilities and being able to control the voices. If you're hearing voices all the time in your head, you tripping out. But if you can control when you hear them and what you can filter out and all that type of stuff, you might be able to live your life as a normal person. And she seems to be living her life as a normal person, but they didn't show us any of that. They told us that's what we were going to get. They act like that's what they was going to show us. They didn't show us none of that nonsense. Also, if you're a movie fan like me, and sometimes I don't pay the most attention to the deepest details, I admit it, but when I do, because I love movies like that, you'll notice that sometimes movies cheat and sometimes they tell the truth. Now, what I mean by cheating and telling the truth is this. Let's say you're watching a movie, and then in the end of the movie, there's a twist of some kind. Now, if you watch that movie again, you should be able to see some of those clues leading up to that twist. You just didn't catch up or pick up on them the first time you saw that film. However, if you watch a movie and then at the end there's a twist and then you go back and watch that movie again and there are no clues whatsoever that they tried to tell you that there were, that movie cheated. This movie fucking cheats. She's seeing real people, but she thinks they're ghosts as a child. Then, in the movie, she's searching around through the house. She finds one of these girls down in the basement. This girl is moving like a straight ghost or a demon doing that pop locking bullshit, but then it's actually a real girl, and she finds she's normal. The girl's not possessed. Ain't nothing wrong with the girl. It's the person that kidnapped the girl that was possessed. That movie cheated to me. You can't make me feel like I should be fearing this girl that's chained up, like she's a demon or a ghost or some shit like this, but then she's normal and she's fine. Fuck that. Now, earlier, I'd also mentioned a little bit of a love situation or a relationship that they were trying to develop. I also mentioned jokes that did not hit. Now, the problem I have with jokes that don't hit, don't try to infuse jokes into a thriller or a suspense mystery, a murder mystery, or a horror movie if you are not properly building the tension that requires some sort of comic relief. If you're not giving me anything to fear or makes me nervous or it's such a super depressing film that I need a little bit of comic relief, fuck that shit. Take it out, especially if your jokes are not hitting. When it comes to this relationship, I thought it was interesting and I thought it was funny. There's not a big age difference between the guy and the girl that's gonna hook up. Here they go. Psh. But what is interesting is that the guy's partner refers to this girl as like the most beautiful girl in the world. Look, I'm not hating. I'm not acting like I'm some prize bull. She cute. I'll take her to the Olive Garden. She cute. But the most beautiful girl in the world, now you're just talking shit. All right, y'all. Now, by this time, you could probably tell that I really didn't give two shits about this film. Do not spend your money on this movie. Don't go out to the theater to watch it. I would check out the first two Insidious films. If you have never seen any Insidious films, you will probably be pleasantly surprised. As far as this one, The Last Key, script didn't make no sense. Player, I actually saw a DirecTV commercial spot before this movie. That gave me more entertainment than the entire film. It was crazy. Anyways, do me a favor while I got you here. Like, subscribe. Your boy, I'm out.